You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. Chris Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the big show. We certainly appreciate you guys being here. As always, the Chris Voss Show is the family that loves you, but doesn't judge you, at least not as harshly as your mother-in-law. So refer to the show. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss. LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss. Chris Voss won the TikTokity and all those crazy places on the internet. If you want to buy me a coffee, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/Chris Voss. We had an amazing young lady on the show today. We're going to be talking to her about her new book, hot off the presses, April 1st, 2024. It's not a April 1st joke. It's called The Wannabe Investor. 40 must-know facts before buying your first stock, by Anne-Marie Sabath. She'll be joining us on the show to talk about multi-books that she's taken and written. She's the author of 10 books, including the best-selling What Self-Made Millionaires Do That Most People Don't. Her passion for investing was ignited during her 10 life-changing years under the guidance of a seasoned stock market guru. Inspired by a 6-decade fortune-building journey, she developed a keen understanding of investment principles and practical choices, which allowed her to build her own substantial nest egg. Today, she dedicates her time to empowering individuals to create their own success through the content in The Wannabe Investor and her other books. Welcome to the show, Anne-Marie. How are you?
Great, Chris. How are you?
I am excellent. It's just wonderful to have you as well. Give us a .coms. Where can people find you on the interweb, which is in the sky?
Thank you. AnneMarieSabath.com. And if they put in my name, Anne-Marie Sabath, on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, X, they will find me.
There you go. So give us a 30,000 overview of your new book.
My new book is for the 40% of Americans who are not invested in the market. And that's why I called it The Wannabe. I'm a real expert because I was a wannabe until 10 years ago when I did not know how to invest in the market. And so I had my money in a savings account and under the mattress.
Under the mattress. Does that sound like the right place to put that?
It was very lumpy.
It was very lumpy. It sounds like a good load that was in there. So what motivated you want to write this book? What was the proponent behind it? You've written 9 other books.
Yes, my proponent for writing books is to teach people what I did not know. And in this book, I was stunned when I saw that investing is strictly a language. It's a language of investing. People throw out these 50-cent words, and I did not understand them, even though I'm multilingual. After 7 years of studying under this guru, as an individual, I wasn't getting any type of designation. I wanted to learn it. What I realized is that anybody could learn it. They simply need the knowledge in down-to-earth layperson's terms. And yes, and that's how I did it. And so it took 3 years to write because I wanted it correct. I wanted people to be able to understand it. I had several beta readers to say, what didn't you understand? What do you like? And so that's how it came about.
Nice. Tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you grow up? What was kind of your origin story? How did you know you become a writer and, of course, start writing all these great books?
Chris, I love telling people what to do. That's the bottom line. And anybody who knows me
She's
will
honest, ladies and gentlemen.
And so for that reason, I founded a business consulting firm. And if you can imagine, a 33-year-old etiquette firm. I went around the world for American Express Bank, for many organizations to help people, to help their teams enhance their client relationship skills. And I did that. I began an etiquette program because I really did not know. I came from a very red-blooded family. there's no blue.
I hope so.
Here. Well, and that's a big thing. And so what I did is every time I decided to write a book, it's because I had figured out, I had learned, I had taught people, I saw a need. And so that's what happened. And so going from an etiquette, 6 etiquette books, domestic and international, to other books that go 1 Minute Manners, How to Handle Awkward Situations, to what self-made millionaires do. I wanted to know what self-made billionaires did. And so I interviewed people and I figured out it's really not about the money. It's about the habits. And so this is how it came about. This is why I write. I write to help people create their own success and create passive income, certainly in the wannabe investor.
There you go. So what are some examples? I've heard things like, you hear things on TikTok memes and other things. You hear that, millionaires, true millionaires, they'll drive like older cars and they're very, they're not up to debt in their hawk. You don't see them driving the newest cars. Is that true?
You know what? It depends what a lot of people still have their communion money or bar mitzvah money. Sure, if they're self-made millionaires, billionaires. However, there is a time to enjoy your money because let's face it, coffins don't have pockets. And
coffins don't have pockets.
Yes, and you know
I like
what?
that line.
Chris, you're welcome to use it. And the deal is this: if you don't use it, I guarantee you, your children, your grandchildren, and great-grandchildren will. And so along the way, why not enjoy your money? The key is getting to the seven-figure status is a matter of being aware of what you're doing. So many people and I love designer clothes. I've had the fancy schmancy cars. However, the key is people who have it, and I learned myself, once I finally I added that extra zero to my life, I realized because I can have it doesn't really mean I want it. It's really the chase, not the catch.
There you go. What are some other aspects that millionaires do that are different than others, if you can tease them out maybe?
I will tease them out. Number one, they document their goals. They know where they're going, and that's why they get there. That's a big deal.
What?
Yes.
I mean, you have to plan not to fail not to plan, or it's one
Isn't
of
that a novel idea?
What an idea.
And here's the deal. Approximately 1/3 of people know what they want to do. However, very few people document their goals. When you know what you want, then you're 1/3 of the way there. When you document your goals, you're 2/3 of the way there. And then the rest happen because of your subconscious way of doing things, because of, call it whatever you want, the universe. Chris, I've gotten anything I've ever wanted in my life, and I was not a trust fund baby. I manifest, I document my goals all the time. And one of them was being on your show. How did that happen?
Whoa! We have manifested a goal. You did ask her. We asked her, one of the two. But you're here. That's all that matters. Manifesting, planning, doing all these things that are important can do this. Now, your book is entitled The Wannabe Investor.
Yes.
Is it still okay for people who, you have 40 must-known facts? You want to tease a few of those out?
I'm happy to. Number one, get over this business about not believing that you can invest. There are 6 reasons that people actually don't invest. And I will tell you, I had every one of them. Number one, I did not have student debt. However, so many people believe that they should not invest in the market because of student debt. 2 years ago, they had to stop using that excuse because there's actually a secure, SECURE, Secure 2.0 Act that was passed in legislation. And when people pay toward their student debt, their organizations can actually fund their retirement plan based on a certain percentage. So no excuse at all. They think they don't have enough money to invest. There are many, many brokerage firms who will allow you to put in a minimal amount. It doesn't matter what. It can be $100. You don't need $1,000 or $50,000. That's a big excuse. Another one is they don't know how to open a brokerage account. You know what? The Wannabe Investor has an entire chapter in there, and there are many online sites that can actually teach you. People believe that they should have their money in liquid assets, like their checking account. It doesn't even keep up with the cost of inflation, so they're actually losing money. And so I'm saying these are reasons that people choose not to invest. They don't know enough about the market. That was my excuse. I didn't trust people because I really needed to know the hows and whats and wheres instead of someone speaking this fancy schmancy language. And so this is what it's about. And the last is people believe that investing is a form of gambling, and they're right when they don't do their homework first.
Okay. Yeah. You got to do your homework, eh? You can't just like throw money at things. What are your feelings about like Bitcoin and some of these cryptocurrencies? Do you feel they're good investments for people, or do you talk about that in your book?
There's an entire chapter on cryptocurrency. Now, again, everyone has to do what's right for them. My recommendation is you buy what you understand. I do not understand enough about it. And so I'm stepping back. I listen, I read articles, I listen to the experts on cryptocurrency. However, again, I don't understand it. And so I invest in what I understand.
Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, it's an interesting marketplace. Let's just put it that way. I just found out, I was going through cleaning up my Facebook yesterday, and because I'm full of 5,000 members, turns out I friended Sam Bankman-Fried, and he friended me back like in the 2010s. Friends the whole time. I wished him happy birthday a couple times and probably talked to him. Anyway, I should have warned him about his future. I feel bad now. So probably my fault. But yeah, you got to understand what you're investing in, what you can do. Why is it important? Should everybody be in the market at this point or in some sort of investment for the future, and why?
Absolutely. And when I say that, here's the deal. Before you even think of investing, you have to fund your 401k or your Roth IRA, depending on where you are, if you're with a corporation or you need to create your own. The most important thing is to invest in a retirement fund and max it out annually before you even think of investing. The second thing, before you even think of investing, is to have a minimum of 3 to 6 years of an emergency fund. Now, come on, let's face it. We've all been there. We've all said, are you kidding? 3 months of an emergency fund? You don't have to do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And people believe, Chris, that they need to get a raise. It's not how much you make. It's what you do with it. If you're going to go out to dinner 5 nights a week, guess what? You can put some of that toward an emergency fund. If you are, the key is there are so many things to do to manage what you have rather than saying when I get paid more. That's the bottom line.
There you go. It's, if you plan to fail, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. That's the axiom. I finally remembered how I clearly didn't plan it well, so I failed at it. Now, you build this as not just another dry investment book. What keeps it from being dry?
It's certainly not dry because I give examples. And I'll give you one. When I studied, and I'm still studying with him, I actually live with him, but don't tell anyone. So now here we are. We evolved from learning about investments to a very healthy relationship. What happened is it's not dry because when I asked him to tell me about bonds, he said, I'd much rather talk about blondes. So if that gives you a clue about it not being dry, there we go.
Wow, this sounds like a steamy book then. I don't know. What are you going to do? But, if investments can help, my love life, I need all the help I can get. So there you go.
Yes, it would help. It helps everyone's love life because, first of all, you are secure. You're a nicer person. You're a better person. You're less stressed because you are in control. You have passive income little by little by little. It's not a matter, there's no quick fix going on.
This can get me the chicks then. So your book helps people find the stock market less intimidating or not intimidating. Tell us about that.
The key is you have to read it first. That's number one.
What?
And number two, yes, that's a surprise.
What kind of book is this?
I don't know. What are we going to say? You can do it on audio too. However, the key is I'm truly fascinated by it. Maybe I've turned into a boring person.
You wrote it, so you should.
Thank you. I really believe in this. I'll give you an example. People ask, what shall I buy? And I ask them, you have to determine if you are a low risk, medium risk, or high risk person. There's not one size fits all. And so that's important. When people want to understand what a stock is, they have to ask themselves, in what sector is it? Do I have that sector? Am I diversified? It's very important. Does the stock have a moat? Chris, do you know what a moat is when it comes to a stock?
No.
Well, let me tell you, I didn't either, and most people didn't until the mid-90s when Warren Buffett, who's quoted in this book, 18 times, and he does have a copy of it, when he went to Columbia University and talked to a finance group of students. And the professor, whose name is Greenwald, asked, Mr. Buffett, how do you decide what stocks to buy? And he said, I only buy stocks that have a moat, M-O-A-T. The professor asked, what's that? And he said, a moat, a stock with a moat has a competitive advantage over other companies providing that service or product from the standpoint of, does it have a network advantage? If you or I have an Apple phone, of course it has a network. We can connect with our iPads, our watches, etc. That's a network. Is there a high switching cost? If we even think of switching, going from an Apple to another provider, it's going to take a lot of energy. So that's called, does it have high switching? Does it have brand recognition? Absolutely. Are you kidding? This is like an Oprah Winfrey. It's Apple. We don't need a lot going on. Does it have a high barrier to entry? That means, what is this? That it absolutely is fine. And does it have intangible assets? Think of all of the intellectual property that a stock with a moat like Apple has. And so what I'm saying is, when I buy stocks, I only invest in a stock with a moat. I don't simply buy it. If I hear a talking head on CNBC, which I love, on Fox, which I love, I don't run out and buy it. I do my homework. I do my research. And that's what it's about. And so it's really a language. If you're going to decide to go to Paris and want to be fluent, you don't do a parlez-vous français and oui, and then you're off. You need to learn the language fluently. And that's what this book is. It's for everyday lay people who are non-financial.
There you go. Non-financial. You help people also overcome anxiety about losing their hard-earned money and holding themselves back. How can people navigate that where they're like, I think that's probably the one trepidation people hold back on. God, I don't want to bet my money in the stock market because what if I lose it all?
That's right. First of all, they need to have what we talked about, have their retirement fund maxed out each year and have a minimum of 3 months of an emergency fund. And I'll give you an example. I'm heavily invested in a particular stock. I won't name it. However, it begins with an N and ends with an A, and it has a lot of potential. It's an AI stock. And today, I know where it's gone. And I'm very happy because it's a great time to do contrarian investing. When a stock goes down, if you believe in it, if it has a moat, if you've gone through the criteria, why not buy more or sit tight? Let me say this. Alan, who is my investment guru, says in the book, this is one of the 40 Alanisms, choose a stock like you choose a mate. Long-term.
Long-term. So long-term mate. Not somebody you pick up at the bar for one night stand, right?
Those are fun too, aren't they? I've been so many decades, I don't remember. However, yes, that's what we're talking about.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, there are some people who are very sloppy about how they pick their mates. Be wise, folks. That's, I guess, what I can say.
You can write that book, Chris. I'm not.
Yeah, I probably could because I've seen that movie a couple times. So there you go. What else have we talked about in your book that people should know about?
There are many things that people should know about. The key is surround yourself with people you want to be like. Learn something new every day. And what that means is even before you invest in the market, ask yourself, what am I going to do? Are you going to turn on a financial channel when you get up and listen to it? Is there a favorite podcast that you should be listening to? Is there a digital newspaper, whether it's IBD, whether it's the Journal? It doesn't matter what it is. However, it's essential, like anything else, to learn. A very important thing is also, and many people do this in their retirement fund, is to do something called dollar cost averaging. That's real easy. That means every month you have a certain amount pulled from your paycheck, whether it's $10 or $100, and that goes directly into your retirement account. Chris, there's something I bet your listeners would love to hear.
Sure.
You know you're never too young or never too old to invest in the market.
Oh, really? Wow.
Definitely. I'll give you an example. So many people do fund accounts for children toward college. And what I do is I happen to have 2 grandchildren. They get no more toys. They get no more clothes from me. 4 years ago, when they were 7 and 11, I said to them, you are going to be wealthy women someday. And so you're going to get 1 share or maybe a half a share. That's called a fractionated share of stock for every birthday and every Christmas. Guess what? They have 19 stocks representing 11 business sectors with a charm bracelet, with an Apple stock, with a plane for GE, with a Starbucks cup, all in sterling silver. And so you're never too young to invest in the market. And I will give you something. The 11-year-old said to me a month after she had the stock, she said, Disney stock is going up. And I said, how do you know that? She said, because we went trick-or-treating and all of these kids were wearing Disney costumes.
Wow.
My point is, you can teach kids early by being aware. Look at all the toys they throw in the closet, the clothes they outgrow. So you're never, ever too young to invest in the market.
There you go. Would you adopt me, please?
Yes, Chris. I needed a younger brother.
I have investments you can set me up in, and you can use me as a dependent, I think. I'm not sure how that works. So there you go. This is very insightful. I mean, it's good for people to know to invest. What are some, people need to realize that, these are important. And it seems like, are we at a lowest point of people investing in the market than ever before? Or are we starting to see more people move into the markets? Where are we in the world with people investing, and what needs to improve, I guess?
Strangely enough, when I wrote this book, I wanted to know that fact. And during the past 10, 20 years, you have approximately the same number. So you have this, when I'm saying approximately 40% of Americans are not invested in the market, that number ranges 1, 2, maybe 3%. And that I've seen that by the research over the past few decades.
Oh, wow.
I'd like to share one more thing, because we may have somebody listening who may be 60, 70, 80 years old. And I want that person to know that you're never too old to invest in the market. You don't just jump in. You need someone. I'm going to give you an example. There was a woman in the last chapter of the book. Her name is Stella. And that's not her real name, of course. She was told that 80 is the new 60. And she panicked. And the reason she panicked is she said, I don't have enough money to live another 20 years. What am I going to do?
Oh, geez.
Seriously. And so what she did is she happened to talk with someone who was a friend in the retirement center. And he said, listen, this is what I do. I took a certain percentage of what I have, and I have invested it for 10 years. And these were the 3 criteria. 1, invest no more than 10% of your assets in the market. So she did 10%. Diversify by having your stocks in different sectors. And the last thing is keep it a minimum of 10 years. Guess what? She did that. She did exactly that.
Wow.
And you see in the book that at the end of 10 years, she ended up with the 10 stocks. Some went up, some went down. However, they averaged 4.7 something percent, which was much better than she was making in her savings account. Now that doesn't count taxes. That doesn't count, the dividends she may have made. However, the key is be aware.
Be aware. Plan. Do something. I mean, doing something is probably better than doing nothing, right?
If you don't know what you're doing, it's probably better to do nothing. You have to be educated. You have to educate yourself. There is no one size fits all when it comes to investing.
There you go. That makes for an excellent point. Which it seems to be a point throughout your book. Know what you're doing, as opposed to just throwing money out the window and hoping that it works, which is how kids are raised.
Well, Chris, what is the one takeaway you've picked up?
If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And that's the big thing. You need to set goals. You need to plan what you want to achieve. You need to invest in something you understand, knowing what you understand. I've seen so many people over the years invest in stuff they don't get. Like I saw that with the 2008 crisis of I had friends that were buying homes that were $1,000 to $1,500 over what the rental market would pay that they were buying. And that was the negative AM starting price at 0% down. So that thing was going to skyrocket. And I'm like, you bought yourself out of the market. You can't even make your mortgage payment because no one will pay that rent. And they bought 6 homes that way. And I remember one friend, she lived in LA, Orange County, and someone told her to get into investing, and Bakersfield was the best place for it. So she bought multiple homes in Bakersfield, which was 4 hours away or 2 or 3 hours away, which makes it really hard to manage rentals. And, it's just silly stuff like that. And then the funny part was she never bought her own place for herself. She was still renting an apartment. And I was just like, you bought 6 properties and you didn't buy one for yourself? Like, that might have been a good idea. I don't know. Be prepared. Understand what you're investing in, because if you don't, you're going to find out the hard way, I imagine, right?
Absolutely. And again, investing is for everyone. It's not for the 2% of individuals who have so much that they are influencing the market. In fact, because of what happened with AMC went through COVID, do you know that Wall Street looks at retail investors and looks at what they're doing? And however, they take a good look at them. In addition to institutional investors, retail investors have a lot of clout. And that's you and me, self-directed individuals. Now, many people wonder, should you have a financial advisor? There's an entire chapter on that. And the answer is absolutely. If you don't have the time, at least make sure you consult with a financial advisor once a year. Or if you don't want to have anything to do with it, read the book, The Wannabe Investor, so you understand what the person is saying, so you can ask questions rather than agreeing.
There you go. You've got to ask the right questions, know what you're doing, and all that good stuff. So final thoughts as we go out and where people can pick up the book.
They can buy the book on Amazon. They can buy it virtually anywhere. Amazon, Barnes & Noble. And anytime they have a question, I don't have anything to hustle. What I have is information to provide. They may email me anytime at AnnMarie@AnnMarieSabath.com. I genuinely care about people. And at this stage in my life, all I want to do is to help people create their own success.
There you go. Thank you very much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. This has been super insightful, and we really love it.
My pleasure, Chris. It's an honor.
There you go. Folks, pick up the book wherever fine books are sold. The Wannabe Investor, 40 must-known facts before buying your first stock, out April 1st, 2024. Check out our other books that she has. You can find them wherever fine books are sold. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss. If you want to buy me a cup of coffee, you can go to buymeacupofcoffee.com/Chris Voss. And I love you because I think I'm drinking water right now. Thanks for tuning in. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you next time. There you go.